तो भाई आईसीसी टेस्ट मेस 7 जून से जो ऐतिहासिक टेस्ट शुरू होने जा रहा है उसकी ट्रॉफी आप यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं और ये ट्रॉफी खास तरीके से डिज़ाइन की गई है। आपको पता है विराट कोहली ने कितनी ही बार इस ट्रॉफी को उठाया, लेकिन वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप की पिछली साइकिल और ये साइकिल और इस साइकिल में आप देखेंगे, खासतौर पर अगर आप इस ट्रॉफी के इस हिस्से को देखेंगे तो इसे पूरी दुनिया की तरह मतलब एक ग्लोब की शेप दी गई है और इसमें लॉन्गिट्यूड्स को भी दिखाया गया है जो आप भूगोल के लिहाज से समझेंगे। उसके बाद इसमें तमाम वो देश दिखाए गए हैं जिसको ये बताया जा रहा है कि जो टेस्ट क्रिकेट है, टेस्ट क्रिकेट को दुनिया से कैसे जोड़ा जाना चाहिए, उसको इसमें एक तरीके से कोशिश की गई है कि इंडिकेट किया जाए। ये जो ट्रॉफ़ी है, ये इस ट्रॉफ़ी को हम पिछली बार चूक गए थे अगेंस्ट न्यूजीलैंड। आपको पता है साउथहैम्पटन में हमने वो टेस्ट वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप का फाइनल खेला था, 2 दिन बारिश आ गई थी और उन तमाम चीज़ों के बीच हमें जो बात याद है कि हमारे हाथ से ये ट्रॉफ़ी आते आते रह गई और केन विलियमसन ने इस ट्रॉफ़ी को उठाया। इस बार सामने पैट्रिक कमिंस हैं, रोहित शर्मा हैं और ये ट्रॉफ़ी एक बार फिर जो है वो दांव पर लगी हुई है और हमें ये देखना है कि इस ट्रॉफ़ी को इस बार कौन सी टीम उठाती है। खास तौर पर ये भी देखना बड़ा दिलचस्प रहेगा क्योंकि इसका अपना बहुत स्वर्णिम इतिहास एक तरीके से रहा है। आईसीसी ये ट्रॉफ़ी, ये टेस्ट मेज़ बहुत बाद में आई, लेकिन जैसा रिकी पॉन्टिंग ने आज कहा कि काश उस वक्त पर ये ट्रॉफ़ी होती। मुझे इसे देखकर ही खेलने का, और मैं ये भी समझ सकता हूँ कि बाकी जो क्रिकेटर्स हैं उन क्रिकेटर्स की मानसिकता किस तरीके से होगी, वो कितना लुक फॉरवर्ड टू कर रहे होंगे इस इवेंट के लिए, क्योंकि ये एक बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त इवेंट है। ये देखते हुए कि ये टेस्ट मैच का वर्ल्ड कप है और वर्ल्ड कप जीतना किसी भी देश के लिए कितना ज़रूरी है ये आप और हम बहुत अच्छे तरीके से जानते हैं। तो ये एक ऐसी ट्रॉफ़ी है जिसको लेकर के हर कोई चाहता है इंडिया में कि भाई रोहित शर्मा कम 11 जून और 12 जून, अगर बारिश होती है तो 12वें जून तक जाएगा मैच, लेकिन 11 जून को अगर सारी चीज़ें सही रहती हैं तो रोहित शर्मा के हाथ में ये ट्रॉफ़ी हो और भारत जो आईसीसी ट्रॉफीज़ का सूखा है, जो एक तरीके से पिछले 10 साल से हम देख रहे हैं, 2013 बैक इन इंग्लैंड आप इस ट्रॉफ़ी को नहीं लेकिन आईसीसी ट्रॉफ़ी को जीते थे। नाउ कम 2023 आप 11 जून को या फिर 12 जून को या उससे पहले इस ट्रॉफ़ी को एक बार फिर से जीत सकते हो। तो फिलहाल इतना ही यहाँ से। आई होप कि आपको ये कवरेज पसंद आ रही होगी। आईसीसी की ये ट्रॉफ़ी जो है न्यू दिल्ली में आई हुई है। ये पहला कर्टन रीजर इवेंट है अगर आप इसे आईसीसी वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप फाइनल के लिहाज से देखेंगे। 7 तारीख से 11 तारीख से पहले आप ये पहला इवेंट देख रहे हैं न्यू दिल्ली में और स्पोर्ट्स स्टार आपको इसकी एक्सक्लूसिव फुटेजेस दिखा रहा है। आईसीसी टेस्ट में आई होप 11 या 12 को रोहित शर्मा होल्ड करेंगे। थैंक यू सो मच, कीप सपोर्टिंग।
Actually quite good as well. So, you know, if they'll miss Bumrah. Bumrah's going to be a huge loss for them going there. But they'll still have the likes of Shami and maybe Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, these guys who will actually bowl well in English conditions. So, look, the big matchups, obviously Virat against anyone is going to be a big matchup. You know, I caught up with Virat about a month ago when we played them in Bangalore, and I had a good chat to him about his batting and where he was at and his career, and he said to me then that he actually feels like he's almost back to his absolute best, and I think you probably saw that last night. You know, he's had a very good IPL, and I'm sure he'll be the prize wicket that all the Australians are looking forward to. You know, even if you think about the last few series we played, Pujara in Australia has been, you know, really hard to dismiss, and the English he's over there playing now. You know, Steve Smith's there playing now, Labuschagne playing anyone now. They're trying to get a bit of a feel for the conditions before this big test match comes around. So, look, I think it'll be India's top order against Australia's fast bowling, I think is a bit of a mouth-watering sort of thought going forward. And generally we think about the battles between India's spinners and Australia's batters. But will that be negated by the wicket at the Oval? Normally the wickets that I've played on the Oval have started really good batting wickets and actually have offered a little bit to the spinners as the game's gone on. So that's what I'd like to see in this wicket, is to have a really good contest day 4, day 5, or maybe even day 6, seeing how it's going. But between the Indian spinners and the Australian middle order to sort of finish off the test, I think then you've got a bit of everything. You'll have some new ball stuff from Stark and Cummins and maybe Scott Boland if Hazelwood's not fit, and then as the game goes on, we'll see the spinners and the Australian batters go head to head.
And, you know, we tried to, in our broadcast, tried to corner Kevin Peterson the other day to tell us more, because we haven't seen the test match as late as 7 June at the Oval. So he's like, tell us about the conditions. He said, oh, the sun will be in. It's I'm not in now, it's still raining. The sun will be in, first 3 days, just that, just enjoy that. So going by that, how crucial is this toss going to be?
Oh look, I think it'll be important, but to be honest, I'm not a huge believer in the toss unless the conditions are really skewed one way. Like unless you turn up in New Zealand or South Africa and there's an absolute green wicket. Actually, you could say that Australia and South Africa in Brisbane this year, the wicket up there had a lot of grass on it, and that was probably a little bit unfair. So you want to win those tosses, but I think if we turn up at the Oval and the wicket looks like a normal oval pitch that, as you say, will probably give some assistance to the batters in the first few days and give some assistance to the spinners as the game goes on. You know, I don't think it really matters. You can still, if you lose the toss, you can still win. If you win the toss, you get the chance to do what you want first and obviously try and control the game. But, you know, as we know, winning the toss doesn't mean winning the game. Whatever you do first in a test match, you still have to do that really well to give yourself the chance to win. So I'm expecting it. For the spectacle itself, I'm expecting that it'll be a really good wicket and we'll get five days of really good, solid, hard test match cricket.
All your years of being an exemplary leader, a captain leading from the front, what advice perhaps for both captains, or what are you expecting to see from either captain?
Oh, look, I think the cricket-loving world deserves to see an unbelievably good test match with a result. You know, we don't want to have a drawn game. So I'd be saying to both captains, let's go out there, let's play good, hard, aggressive test match cricket, and let's just think about make sure there's a result at the end. If it means that you've got to put yourself or your team on the line to potentially lose a game, to give yourself a chance to win the game, go and do it. Because I think that's what everyone that loves the test match game wants to see, right? And we've heard the really refreshing thing that I've seen in World Test cricket in the last 2 years has been the way that England have played. You know, this all-out, win at all costs sort of approach. And if they lose a couple
like
of
pass ball, you good with that?
I don't like the name of it, and he doesn't like the name of it. And I'll tell you a couple of games into the Ashes, I'll tell you if I like it or not, depending on which way the results are going. But no, because I'm a cricket lover now, I'm a cricket watcher, I'm a cricket commentator, so I want to see cricket played the best way it can be. And I think what England have done, they played Test match cricket the best way it can be played. So I think both captains and both teams in this final deserve to show the world that Test match cricket can be played in an aggressive manner and always looking to take the game forward and win the game, and that's what everyone wants to see.
Well, our next generation is here, and before I hand the floor over to them, because they've got a couple of questions for you, Ricky, I just want you to tell them why this format matters so much and why they should be watching the World Test Championship final and what it means to aim to get that test cap, to wear those whites for your country.
Yeah, it's getting a harder story to tell, I must admit. You know, with the amount of white ball cricket that our younger generations are actually seeing now, whether that, you know, you look around the world, the landscape of cricket is definitely changing to become a more domestic-based T20 sort of game, which I'm not that happy about, to be honest. But as a young boy growing up in the northern suburbs of Tasmania in Australia, all I wanted to do was be good enough to play for my club team, which was what my uncle was doing. I want to be good enough to play for my state, and then I want to be good enough to one day hopefully play for Australia in the Test format, because that, as far as I'm concerned, is still the benchmark of a cricketer. To have a long, esteemed, established Test career, I think, is still how we judge cricketers today. That might be changing slightly with the amount of T20 cricket we're seeing, as I said, but if you want to make a name for yourself and you want to feel good about yourself at the end of your career, if you can forge a very good Test career or first-class career, then when you eventually retire, you can be pretty happy with what you've achieved. So, for me, it was always wanting to be good enough to play one Test match, and then it was going to be an Ashes Test. Hopefully for you young guys here, you'll want to grow up and be good enough to play one Test match for India, and maybe that's going to be against Australia. So that I wish you all the very best. I'm really interested to listen to some of the questions you've got. If you're not too shy to ask them, that is. The time I spent with you at the back there, everyone was a little bit shy, but looks like there's some written questions there which they'll be able to read out, which might bring the best out in these youngsters. So it's great to see you all here, and I'm sure you'll be watching closely over the next couple of weeks to hopefully see Australia win the World Test Championship.
There you go, he's already given the prediction before I asked him that. And as we saw yesterday, 2 centurions in the IPL using classical cricket shots, not doing anything fancy, so that technique is possible. Go ahead, who wants to ask the first question to Ricky?
Hi sir, good morning. I'm Parth from Craft Cricket Academy by Robin Best, and My question is that you won 3 ODI World Cups with Australia, and you've been the greatest captain we've ever seen in cricket. So, seeing that Australia has never come in a World Test Championship final, how important is this game going to be for both the teams, and how important is winning going to be in this game?
Yeah, no, this is a very important game. There's no doubt about that. From my auntie and I just talking about it then, 2 years of work goes into it. A lot of hard work goes into this. A lot of different players are used as well. That's the other thing. If you look back through 2 years of Test cricket, I mean, Australia probably used 15 or 16. India probably used more players than that to get to where we are for a final. So it is a very important game. Both these teams want to be recognised as being the best Test team in the world, and this is a new thing, right? This has only been going for a few years, so there's only been one winner of this so far, and that's New Zealand. Back when I was playing, there was no final, so it was just whoever finished on top of the rankings at the end of the year would win that trophy. And that, to be honest, it was almost like a slightly hollow feeling from winning that. I think back when I was playing, I would have loved to have played a one-off Test to prove that we were the best team in the world for those couple of years. So it's an important game for everyone. As I said, it'll be more than just a normal Test match. There's more on the line. It's the world. We're actually looking at the World Cup for Test match cricket. That's the way we should look at it. And we all know how big the World Cups are. So I'm excited already. You can probably hear that in my voice, and I'm not even playing. I've been retired for 10 years, so I'm excited about it. So I can only imagine what the likes of Pat Cummins and the Australians are feeling, and obviously Rohit Sharma and his Indian team.
Go ahead, let's have another one.
Good morning, sir. I am Athar Yadav from Craft Cricket Academy by Robin Best. My question is that, what is your favorite Australia-India Test cricket memory, both in India and Australia?
That's a very good question. I don't have too many good memories in India, actually. I must admit. No, look, to be honest, I think we probably played one of the all-time great Test series here, and it was in 2001. Was one of the great Test match series, which ended up being, was that the one we won or lost? What was the one with the Calcutta game? I don't remember what year that was.
2001, yeah.
2001.
You won the first one, and then you came to Calcutta, and you
were
forced to follow on.
I'm trying to erase these things from my memory, so I'm losing track of the years.
Bit of a record stand.
Yeah, Steve Waugh was captain that, you remember as well. No, but I think that's where a lot of this rivalry, the stuff that we're talking about now in the early 2020s, it all goes back to those days, back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, where Australia-India played some of the all-time great Test series. That was one there, 2001. I think we came back in 2003, was it? 3-4. Of which I'd broken my thumb in the Champions Trophy. Adam Gilchrist captained the first couple of Test matches, and Australia actually found a way to win in the subcontinent for the first time in a long, long time. So there's some great memories there, and I think probably some of my best batting achievements happened against India in Australia. I made back-to-back double centuries in one series in Australia, one at the Adelaide Oval, and then one at the MCG the next week, and that was Steve Waugh's last series as a player and as a captain. And I remember saying to him before that series that, whatever happens in this series, I'll make sure I do everything I can to ensure that you finish your career in the best possible way. We ended up winning the series, and as I said, I had a good series as a player, so there's some of the better memories that I've had between Australia and